Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to use coupons and discounts for Stripe using Node.js, and there'll be a little bit of React in there just because I like to work off a MERN boilerplate, so that might also be in there. In today's video I'm going to show you how to do discounts and coupons, and the reason why I'm going to do this is because it was actually requested. So for actually doing it with a single Stripe, the way you process payments. So if you look at my screen right now, I'm looking at the Stripe docs. And this is subscriptions. So if you're planning to provide a coupon or discount for a single one-time purchase, that's kind of on you because you don't just change the price, right? So Stripe, the way it works when you do a single charge is you'll go in and you declare a price and you work through it or whatever. Like, add so many items to their cart and the total price is this, and then you might add tax and things, and then on the front end you insert that price. And that gets created with the token on the front end, and then it gets Stripe creates a token with Stripe.js. The charge goes through, and then on the back end you reference that token, and you still have the price. I guess you also have the total price there, and so then you charge them based on the price there. If you want to provide them with a coupon or something, that would be kind of more on you, so that you have them enter in the coupon or something like that, and then on the back end you just reduce that total price based on the coupon you have saved in your database. So that's not something you would do with Stripe, but if you're doing a subscription, like, again, looking back at my screen, if you're doing a subscription, it's very important because Stripe actually handles this monthly charge, and it's not like you want to go in and, I don't know, run a cron job to make an API call that makes a charge every month. Stripe will actually handle it for you. It's quite nice. This is the subscriptions. I have this video on making subscription charges. So the way it works is you define a plan. I often just do this right in the dashboard. You create a customer, and then you subscribe the customer to the plan, and the customer is based on the customer object. So if we're looking at the full API here, I just switched. All these links are down in the description below. Here, so if you go to the customers, and then we have the customer object, and then we have the create customer. So the customer object is this token created by Stripe.js, and it will return a customer ID. I'm switching back to the quick start. This is the customer that you're creating here, and that's where their ID goes in right here. And so you're going to subscribe them to a plan, and then that credit card that's associated with that customer will be charged on some sort of monthly, whatever you define in the plan. And they'll be charged, let's say, X amount. So let's say we're Netflix, and we charge, I don't even know what it is, I think it's $12.99. So we're going to charge them $12.99, but we have a couple customers that we want to provide discounts to. It's the friends and family plan or something like that, and so that's where our discounts come in. So if you navigate over to the left side here on the docs, there's an applying discounts. I have it open in a different tab, and it's pretty simple. So the idea is they give you a couple things you have to think about here. Is you can apply it to one invoice, so this would be 1 month only, or you can apply it to all your customers or something like that. But so essentially here it is. If you go into the API reference, you'll see more details about creating coupons, like to see the actual object. But here's the example. So you have to create some sort of ID for your coupon. The idea is here you'd actually probably create this coupon on the dashboard. So I'm going to just, again, switch over to my Stripe dashboard here. You sign into stripe.com, and this would be here. There's a coupon here, tab here. And you can just create your first coupon. And so it gives you a couple options here. And the reason why I would actually use the dashboard over the API is, you may want to use the API, but same way as the plans, how often does Netflix create a new plan? They don't. They have like 5 of them. They change a little bit, but you can just go in and manually change it here. So you don't really need to do that via API. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go in, create our customer, subscribe him to a plan, and then we're gonna say he has a coupon or something, and we're gonna issue a discount to one customer. Then we'll do the same thing, but we won't issue it to the second customer, and we should see 2 separate charges there. Let's get started. So we're gonna have to start by setting up our actual code base, our dev environment. So if you look at my screen, I'm working off this MERN boilerplate. It's a MERN project that is pretty simple. Essentially, it doesn't have any Redux. If you want Redux, you can go into the branches there, but I use it all the time just because of its simplicity, so I'm just going to download a copy of it. I recommend forking, and if you don't mind starring it as well. Hit export here, and I'm going to drop mine onto my desktop. I've renamed mine to be Stripe Coupon here, and essentially all you have to do is I'm going to open up mine in, I'm going to quit this because I just did in PHP. I'm going to open a new window, and I'm just going to open up my project. I'm going to take down the server too. I was using this all for PHP, not important. So I'm just going to open, that would be my website. Stripe Coupon here. I'm going to hit open. It's going to open it up, and the only thing you have to do with this project is rename this one file to be config.example, config.js, not config.example.js. And this will be our database, and you need to have a database kind of set up. I mean, we're not going to use it in this video. I'm not going to use it, but and so that's the port I'm going to put it on, and the database name here. But I won't get too much into that. I have another video explaining that. And so our back end here is where our code will save to Stripe and things like that, and then our front end is where all we have to do is generate the token. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to head over to this website here. I'm just going to open up here. This I've included in the description below. This is React Stripe Elements. So if you know what Stripe Elements are, if you don't, just go to this website here. But essentially, it makes it easier to actually grab the Stripe token for React. So we need to do the following: npm install. I'm just going to switch over to my project here. So Stripe Coupon. Clear this, and all we have to do is an npm install on everything. Actually, the first step we do. I sometimes actually forget to do that with these projects, and so that will take a few minutes, and I'll kind of jump back to this when we get there. Now that that's finished installing, what we need to do is, if you look at this page, I've included this page down below as well. If I haven't mentioned that, you want to do an npm install --save React Stripe Elements. And we're going to follow this pretty much to the T until we hit the point where we can generate our token with Stripe.js. So after that's going to finish installing, what we need is this library here. And I'm just going to hit Atom here. I'm going to navigate over to my public folder, my index.php, and I'm going to drop it in there. Mine's now installed. I'm on 1.6. So one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a brand new page called import Stripe. Yeah, I'm just called Stripe page, and I'm going to say probably change that to be, it's going to fit better into your application, where it's it will probably be like account details or something like that. But I'm just going to call mine Stripe page. Add it right into this index.php file. I have to create these things in components. I have to create a new folder called Stripe page and a new page called Stripe.js, and that one actually goes in there. And in there I'm just going to do import React from React, and that's the page name. And since there's no ESLint here, I'm going to kind of just do this my own way. And this is where I'm going to put in the Stripe provider, which is going to be my Stripe publishable key, which can be found on your Stripe dashboard under API. Paste that in there, and then I'm gonna add in this file here. I'm going to actually copy this one pretty much the same, and I'm really going to be jumping around for the next few minutes. But if you're wondering where I'm getting this all from, you know where. Paste this in here. Realize that I didn't actually import this, so it won't work. And on this page I didn't import Stripe provider. And then so what they do here is they have this file called inject form, and what's in this is going to be this file here. And I'm just going to copy all that and paste that here. And technically, if that's all done, we should be able to run this. So npm run start dev. I gotta actually kill that. I already know I missed to do a step here. We want to do stripe page is actually never used anywhere. So I'm going to scroll down and call route path / stripe, and then you know what, we're actually going to call it step 1. And this is where the first step will be just setting up your customer object. And navigate back over here, npm run start dev. And something went wrong. This page here. It's just probably just the notation. So this notation works too. Just add a constructor in here. Just adding a couple of my own touches to the stripe aspect of it. And let's try running that one more time. Cannot resolve address section. Cannot resolve address section. Oh, okay. So I missed the final step here. Card section, and then we're actually going to take out address section. So sorry if this is taking a few minutes here. Import and then paste this. Head over the check form. I'm just going to comment at address section, and I'm going to comment at address section here too. And I'm just going to scroll up and okay, so now it's compiled successfully, so just go to localhost 8080 and then, what did I say, step 1? Yeah. So this is Stripe Elements. I'm not going to get too much into this. This is their way of allowing you to customize everything. And so what we really want to know is what that Stripe token is, and that's what all we're trying to do for the last 10 minutes. So we're just going to do 424242, which is a test credit card. And we just need something in the future. We need a zip. I don't have one of those, but I don't get that one. I recommend removing the zip code because, like, if you're like me, I'm a Canadian and I don't have a zip code. Hit confirm here. And as you can see, it passes back this Stripe token object, which is right here, this console log here. And this is important because let's see what happens if I just take out this name. Because that's all hard coded in there. And this is important just because that token is what we're going to be using in the backend. So all we have to do is make a post request to the backend, and we can set that up. Yeah, so that works. So that still works fine. I didn't want to get too much into actually doing all this front end stuff, but it is required for this video. So let's start by doing this first step where we're gonna create a customer, which is our first step in our subscriptions here. So if you go to, this is the subscriptions quick start, it's in the description. First step is to define a plan. We'll have to do that. We'll just do it via Stripe dashboard because plans don't really change that often. The next step is to create a customer, which we're currently doing. And to create a customer, we'll need to have a token, which is one of the parameters here that we'll use. I'm looking at the PHP. This is what it's going to look like. And this all actually happens in the back end. So that's what we're first going to do. Now it's, so when I say first thing we're going to do, now the first thing we have to do is actually install the Node SDK. And so for you, I've included this in the description below. I'm also looking at the GitHub page right now, so you should do an npm install stripe -- save, and kill it, stop your application. And I'm just going to look at the code base here. I'm going to close just about everything because we only have to actually come back to one file, and we only have to come back to it in a few minutes. Our next step is to set up the routes. We have this counter. It's all the default stuff for this MERN boilerplate, but we're going to create something called stripe.js. And it's a little confusing with naming. And we're just going to copy a few things from this page here. I don't think we're going to use a GET request, but I'm just going to leave it there anyways. This will be called stripe, I don't know, customer create. Let's do that. Or, yeah, we'll just drop the word stripe out of there. And it won't be anything to do with the database. Here we're going to be referencing the Stripe SDK. So the very top of this will be needing our Stripe secret key. Here's mine. It's going to be gone by the time you see this video. It was actually gone before you saw yesterday's video. And as you can see on the Stripe node page, it shows you how to create a customer pretty simply. And so it's going to return a customer. So if error, I want to throw a console.error. Otherwise, I just want to, we're going to do a res.send. And we're trying to just get the customer ID. Essentially, here is where you would save the customer ID to your user database. So the idea is in Mongo, you probably have a user object, and one of the fields inside of that would be a string that stores a Stripe customer ID. The idea is you don't actually ever have to store any sort of customer information on your database. That's the nice thing about Stripe, they handle it all. But all you have to do is store this ID, and so here you would update your customer based on who's logged in. I don't have any of that implemented just because it would just be, it's not the point of this video. And so what you do here is, based on who's logged in, you create a customer with their information and their token, which is, we're not here yet, we haven't actually added that part in. I'll just show you how to do that. So it's called source, and then we'll pass in a token. We haven't actually gotten a token, so token would be here, and that would be request.body.token, and it's going to be coming in via a post request. Throwing an error statement in there if there's no token, and I realize that's not the right error statement. Now it is. It's going to create a token, create a customer here. It's going to pass it back, and then you would save it into your database based on whoever is logged in. And so that's the end of create customer. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually use that customer ID, and I'm going to hard code everything because I'm not going to set up the whole user schema. The last thing we need to do is actually create the fetch request. I'm going to use fetch here. I've included this in the description below, and I just need to make a post request here, and I don't feel like typing this all out. So I'm just going to navigate back over to this handle submit here. This is where we create our new token, and I'm just going to, I know this isn't the best structure, I recommend doing something else, but following res.json, and then response, and then console log dot response, and this is what I'm looking for, which will return my customer ID. And so what I have to do is, since I don't want this to be users, this would be this path here, API slash customer slash create, and the only piece of information I'm passing through is the token.id. Okay, so let's give this a try. It looks like nothing's gonna happen when it returns, and that's fine. We're not trying to handle that, or at least I'm not personally. So I'm just gonna restart this, npm run start dev. Wow, they really minimize this library. Like, they instead of importing the entire Lodash library, they import just is plain object. Wow. Anyways, my page is going to refresh. So 424242. And this works. Okay, and so as you saw, as it moved quite quickly, Stripe token was created, customer went to the back end, and then we got this customer object back. All we care about is customer ID. So I'm just going to copy that for now. Yeah, and so next we're going to get into actually subscribing our customer to a plan. We have to do all these before we can actually give them a coupon to get the discount. So with that, we'll actually create a whole second page that isn't completely Stripe related, I guess. We'll just call it step 2. And it's going to be, I'm going to create a new folder for it. Step 2. And the page will be called step 2 page. .js. And we're just going to import React from React. And I'm going to actually go with full notation right now. So step 2. This is not supposed to be supposed to be extends. We don't actually have a component object, so we have to import that. Just to verify it all works. Export default. And we have to head over to our index.html page. Go to route, add a new one in called path step 2. Component. And the last thing we have to do is actually properly import this. So components. I think I can just call this step 2, not step 2 page. And save that. Our Webpack recompiled here. So now if I technically head to step 2, it says hello world, so that's properly set up. I'm just going to close everything here. So step 2, this is where essentially the user is going to enter their coupon code and select a plan. They should be logged in, so on the back end you should know which customer ID you have. Hopefully I saved mine. I can grab it from my Stripe dashboard, so it doesn't matter for me. But this is what we're going to do. We're going to start by heading over to our Stripe dashboard here. You head up to subscriptions, you get a drop down here. As you can see, those are all my new users. I get plans as one of my things, so I can hit create plan, and I'm going to create 3 plans. I'm just going to say, so bronze, give a name, it's going to be $4.99. Bill monthly, sure. Description, great. We're going to create another one called silver. It's going to be $9.99. Billed monthly, great. And the last one will be gold. And I just realized, so I'm making these all lowercase for the ID, so they're all consistent. I can just make the actual call lowercase, so yeah, that IDs. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an employee discount plan, which is % off. I'm going to make it 100% off. So if you're an employee, you get the service for free forever, as long as you're an employee. And the employee discount coupon will be this. And I'm going to say only to March 28th. I'm filming this right now in March, so I'm going to hit create. And so that's all set up in terms of I have my 3 plans. Now I just have to display all this to the user. And so I'm going to start by saying constructor props, and pass my prop, and this dot state. And I'm going to create a variable called coupon. So essentially coupon is my coupon code, and then I'm going to have current plan. And this will start as bronze. And so I have to load a couple things. So div, and I'm going to recommend actually splitting this off into multiple React components, but I'm not going to do that because I don't have that kind of time. And so I'm going to do the following. Input, we need a type text, placeholder will read coupon, and the value will be from the state here, it'll be coupon. And hopefully you know a little bit about React, and this is just your basic form submission, handling your form on. So we're gonna have to create this function here. It's gonna get an event, and in that event, all I want to do is update the state coupon, and in event.target.value is the value of this text box as it changes. The last thing I have to do is just bind this function here. So technically, coupon will update this in state here, and the other one is here. We're gonna have an area called plans, and what I'm gonna do is make it a variable called this will work. So if the plan is equal to the current plan, so this is all, I'm doing this all in inline styling. Again, you can do this in a better way. Make these buttons, just say background color slightly gray, and it's going to read the plan inside that. And then if it's not the current plan, it's going to return a white background. It's going to still say the plan in there. So realistically, I could just make a variable that, yeah, this works. And it has an issue for some reason. That's right. I don't know what this issue is. Oh, here, H2 tags. There it is. Okay, that's fixed now. And so this should just render, should start as bronze selected. I'm not gonna do anything more. I'm just gonna, because I want to see this. Oh, there. So as you can see, it's slightly. Okay, it really doesn't. You can see that bronze is selected, and so now it's just to handle the actual clicking event of selecting a different plan. So I want to say Both of these will be the same. On the click, I want to say this dot switch, and this will be the plan that will be switched. And so now I have to actually create this function. Change this variable name so I can just do nicer notation. So I just want to verify that everything is properly set up. So I'm just going to say coupon, and I want to see the coupon, and then I want to say console.log.current plan. Refresh the page here. So if I type in test, coupon says test, balloon plan says bronze, I switch to be gold, everything works. So my state's all updated. Now the next step would be to actually make the call out saying this is my the plan I've selected, this is the coupon, so that actual submission call. I'm going to minimize this so that it doesn't get too confusing. So div and then put a next button in there, and then an on click, this next step, again, I have to add it to my actual here, and the issue though is we haven't actually set up the next step. So let's write some of the backend code to handle the next step. So that will involve going back over to our Stripe.js file here. I'm going to copy this one line here, but not the rest of it. I'm going to switch. I'm going to paste here, and I'm going to explain what I'm going to do. So, step one is to grab the plan and the coupon. Step two, verify the plan. Like make sure it's. I guess you check. I recommend checking that it's a valid plan, but all you gotta do is, I guess, check that it's not empty and it's one of your three options. And the last step is to verify, or the last step is to subscribe. And what would that look like is I can just head back over to my quick start with my subscription here. So second step was create a customer, and then this is the step where you subscribe to a subscription. And you would also have another step in here, which is grabbing the, I guess step 3 for you would be grab current user info, and pulling out the customer ID. I'm going to hard code that step, so I'm not going to personally do it, but step 4 for me would be subscribe, and so that's where that code comes in. So let's do that. It's going to be another post request coming from the body, so it will be the plan, and the other parameter would be coupon. And I'm just going to do this request.body. I'm going to load those two variables in. And then I'm going to have plans. So these are both constants, so you can't change them, but plan.toCase. And I want to do the same thing with the coupon. Is that a thing? I can only hope. So the idea here is you're just kind of formatting a little bit. So if there's any white spaces on either end, sometimes when you're on a mobile phone, you might type it out and then it automatically adds a space on the end. And if they hit submit and you don't cut the space off the end, and the employee code, they have written the word employee, but it compares it to being employee with the space on the end, so it might not be valid. Same if you might have a capital, that might also not work. That's why we just do this formatting. And then I have a list of plans, and it's going to be bronze, silver, and gold. I feel comfortable hard coding these because they don't change that often. Netflix doesn't, as an example, doesn't change their plans that often, so this works. And then I should say, if I really want to use Lodash here, is in an array, but I'm just going to do id plans.index of. If it equals -1, return res.send. Oh, I want this to say success, false message, invalid plan. Otherwise, it's good. You want to grab the current customer ID, and I'm going to hard code mine. Mine's sitting in my Stripe dashboard right now. And the last step is where we copy from our quick start here these two things. And so what you don't know is customer ID is right here. I don't have one yet. And plan is your plan ID, and mine's just actually not complicated like this. It's just the word silver, bronze, or gold in lowercase. So we are actually passing that through. So plan. And the last thing is coupon is the last parameter, and that's just passing the coupon in. And this will finish off, and we'll just say, yeah. And we'll just say done once all these things run. And with that, we have to actually make a request to this endpoint, which we haven't done yet. So I'm going to switch back to the front end, similar to our last call. Let me just find where we're making this call. I'm just going to copy this. This was the call to save the token ID, so instead of create customer, it's going to be subscribe. It's going to be application JSON, it's going to be a post request. We're going to pass in plan, which is going to be our current plan in our state, and coupon, which is going to be, coupon. And so we have to grab these two things from state. And then we're just going to print out the response. So this should all technically work. We're just going to refresh our page here. Oh, since I've changed the backend, it shuts down automatically. Before I started up, I realized that I don't actually have my customer all set up, so I'm just going to go customers, and I'm going to grab this new customer ID that I kind of submitted with no information. I also don't recommend doing that. I recommend adding more information about your customers. But here. And paste that, and then hit run npm run start dev. Okay, we're successfully compiled. Just gonna refresh the page. This error here is saying that I can explain this one. So since we're doing this inline or .map, it's saying you need some sort of unique parameter for each one of these buttons. We're gonna ignore it. So I'm just gonna start by hitting silver and hitting next, and there it is. Response is none. Is done. Sorry. And I'm just gonna switch over to my dashboard to verify it's kind of worked here. So if I refresh this customer page, it should say subscribe to silver. If this actually worked. It did not. So let's figure out why it didn't work. Because, so we hit our subscribe. Coupon was empty, silver was our plan. This was our customer ID. Sorry, I'm just going to actually look at this code here. Let's do the following. Get the response. Instead, this will be our response here, up here. So what I did there was I essentially this is the callback, and I want the callback. Oh, here, we got an error. Cannot pass an empty string for coupon. We assume the values are empty to unsend. Okay, so it's throwing an error saying that coupon can't be unset. So I wonder if this will work. Just setting it to null, if that changes anything. So I'm going to do an npm start dev again to get the server back up. Okay, so that's good. Let's hit silver and hit next again. Request is pending. Okay, so it's throwing the same error. That's why we actually threw the callback. Cannot pass an empty string coupon. I'm just going to do this instead. Params, paste this in, and I'm just going to do so this will just say add coupon into that object if it exists. Let's refresh this page again. Hit silver, hit next. We got 200 back. Done, true. Let's head over to our dashboard, refresh this page. Hopefully now it says it's subscribed to silver. Because in the next step after, okay, so it says it's subscribed to silver. So the next step we're going to try out is actually using the employee discount. So with that, we have to head back to step 1. And we're re-enter, I can close this. Yeah, no, I can't close this because the response is coming back in here. I have to go back to the console. So we're going to type in our credit card or whatever. Let's say your user signs up and you get them to type in their credit card, and you hit confirm order. Customer ID comes back. I don't know why it came back twice, but yeah, I don't know why it came back twice. You have to update. I have to update my code because I'm hard coding it, and that will stop the server here. So let's do an npm run start dev again. I'm just gonna go to step 2 now, but it won't be running. It's gonna restart all this. So if I was an employee, I probably want the best because I'm getting it for free. So I'm gonna hit gold, and I'm gonna type in employee as my code, and I'm gonna hit next. And it says done, so I'm just going to head back to my customers. I should get, for some reason it ran twice there, but as I hit my most recent customer, as you can see I subscribed to gold and I got 100% off applied. And so that's pretty much it. I'm not going to get too much more into it. I know that was a lot more setup than actually seeing the coupon stuff. But thank you for subscribing, or please subscribe, sorry. Please subscribe. Hopefully you like this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I try to respond to as many as possible. And next week I'm coming out with another video.